Okay, welcome to episode 1 of the Bridge Coffee Roasters podcast. My name is Jack and I'm the host for today, and I'm really excited to be joined by Marcus, who is our Roastery Production Manager. So Marcus, you joined us back in November last year, and you've made a massive difference to how our roastery runs on a day-to-day.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what you're responsible for here at Bridge.
So it's been 6 months. Been responsible for the transitioning from our little 35 kilo roaster to 120 kilo roaster, whole new operation, new packing machines, new team as well, building the team up, and yeah, just
nice. Any big hiccups along the way at all?
There's plenty.
Yeah.
It's like putting a boat in water for the first time, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. What happened last week? You had while Dwayne was off.
We had the stoner go down.
Yeah.
We had the compressor go down, and the packing machine, the arm that holds the foil just kept falling off.
Yeah.
And just little things.
It's a good time.
It?
It's the same in marketing, Everything goes wrong and you just have to sort of deal with it. So thank you for joining us on the first episode. So just a little bit about sort of the podcast format before we get into today. Kind of the point is that we're going to have just good conversations with people in the team. There's a lot of knowledge about, coffee, from buying and sourcing and roasting all the way to the machines and the training and getting good quality at customer sites. So yeah, we want to impart some of that knowledge in video and audio form. So we're going to be speaking to as many people in the team as we can.
Make it a regular thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and people that we work with in the wider industry as well, like people who work at the machine suppliers that we supply, our green coffee importers as well, and then some of our customers potentially, and also people that we don't work with but maybe look up to in the industry as well, to get some insights and some knowledge. Yeah. Share it with the good people, spread the good word, basically. Cool. So today we're talking about coffee quality. Yeah. We're going to cover a few different topics around that. We work with quite a lot of people who aren't happy with their coffee quality, but they also understand that a higher quality coffee,
the economics of it.
Yeah, it's going to cost them a little bit more.
It's all about balance, isn't it?
And sometimes they'll have to maybe convince someone else in the business who's going to sign the piece of paper that they need to, that paying more for coffee is a good idea.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into that. First of all, what does high quality coffee mean?
High quality coffee, basically you're almost guaranteeing someone that this cup, through the whole process from farm to mill, from shipping to roaster to getting it to the barista to your cup, is 100% traceable and guaranteed quality, basically, is what people assume when you say specialty.
So traceability means you know exactly where it's come from and where it's going.
Yeah.
What about sort of the varieties as well? Sort of, you've got Arabica versus Robusta, and the price is sort of fluctuating now between the two. We know a little bit.
Price is crazy at the moment.
Yeah. But what are some of the characteristics that you get in the cup in a higher quality coffee as well?
Just a lot more clean tasting. The acidity is a lot more refined. You can tell the difference.
Yeah.
Whether something's been, blended together, trying to hit that, £9 a kilo price point, whatever, compared to something that's, single varietal, single farm, and, you can taste the origin basically. And to me, story is important as well.
Yeah, that's one of them.
It's the opportunity to tell a story rather than, some bulk Brazilian that's been, mechanically harvested, no name to it, just a number on it on the sack, basically. Yeah.
Nice. And you've been in the industry a while, and maybe we'll give a sort of brief overview of what you've done in the last decade or so.
Yeah.
But how have you seen, how has the definition of like a quality cup of coffee changed in that time? Has it changed?
I think it's changed.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like, when we started back in, I got into coffee 2012, 2013. Mm-hmm. It was quite the specialty coffee scene was small mm-hmm. and more congruent. Now there's more, do we have fans in our grinder? Do we heat our grinder? Do we preheat our cup? Do we freeze our cup?
Yep.
And it's just a lot of noise, I think. Mm-hmm. I think it's noise.
Okay. Yeah. So what are some of the, if a lot of it is noise, what are maybe 2 or 3 essential things that people need, the sort of the big ticket items that people need to get a high quality coffee?
Most of the time you're going to pay for it, I think.
Okay.
And I feel like people are a lot more discerning now mm-hmm. than they were before. There's a lot more education out there, a lot more information, but also misinformation about how just to make a simple cup of coffee taste good. Yeah.
So as we mentioned earlier, we speak to a lot of businesses who want a higher quality coffee, but they're a little bit nervous about paying for it.
Yeah.
You've just said the price of the coffee is a massive impact on the final cup and what that tastes like. What do people get when they spend a little more on their roasted coffee?
Yeah. See, a kilo of coffee will probably make roughly 50 cups of coffee.
Okay.
A 2-shot standard,
18
espresso,
gram. Yep.
18 gram. So, it ends up being about 30p for like a conventional coffee. But then you got specialty that probably costs about 18 quid a kilo. And it ends up being, a couple pence more for that espresso. And then you add the milk and so forth. So it's tricky. I think people are willing to spend a bit more, 20, 30p a cup more than knowing they're going to get something with a character, mm-hmm. a story attached to it. Mm-hmm. It depends what market you're in, I think. Mm. Yeah.
Okay. What might a market look like that would be inelastic to that? What kind of coffee drinker wouldn't pay a little bit more for a higher quality?
I think it depends where you are. Whether you're out there seeking something specialty, or you're on a road trip. You're going to go. It's either Starbucks or another company. That you're going to go to, service station. Your expectations will mold around your environment, I think. If you know if it's there, as opposed to it not being there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And would you recommend as people sort of getting into wanting to serve a higher quality, they're worried about their consumers maybe not tuning into that?
Yeah, it depends what they're after. Are they after like something that's going to differentiate them from their competitors, mm-hmm. or are their customers more price focused? Would they just be happy just to have a nice standard cup of coffee, as opposed to, do they actively want to shout about, take a garden centre for instance, are they going to want to come up with a unique specialty coffee range for their cafes, as opposed to something more conventional, good quality, but at the price point where they know their customers are going to be happy. Mm-hmm.
So a business might look to upgrade their coffee, and maybe they're selling a flat white at £3.
Yeah.
Let's say they started paying an extra. Let's say they were paying £10 for a kilo of coffee.
Yeah.
And then they went to 13. What sort of level of increase in quality would that give them? And Yeah, let's start with that. Yeah.
From a roaster's perspective, yeah,
Yeah.
it could be the difference between something 100% Arabica, more high grown, as opposed to something with that Robusta element in there, which definitely, historically has brought the price down of the coffee. As opposed to, the 100% Arabica, I guess it's what people, you've got to know your customer, I think. Not everyone could serve specialty coffee. It's not just about the kilo of beans, it's the training, it's everything that goes into it, isn't it? Yeah.
I was chatting with Max about this yesterday, and he was doing a little calculation for a potential new customer. I won't say any names, but they had multiple sites across the UK, and they were exploring the idea of a guest coffee, I think. So Max was doing the maths on sort of how much they would have to, how much revenue they were risking by selling a guest coffee at maybe 30p more.
Okay.
And I think he calculated that if 30% of people went with the guest coffee, they'd make 5 figures in a year.
Extra.
Yeah.
On top of,
Yeah. Which is just crazy.
It's mad, isn't it?
And then the people that we speak to sort of, it can be sort of hard to see the long-term vision when all they see is, okay, we were paying, I don't know, £8 a kilo.
Yeah.
Really don't want to be paying 12, but it's like, see the long term.
That's it.
Cool. What do you think? How could a high quality coffee? How could that increase revenue, in your opinion?
If done correctly, people will pay money for a better product as long as it comes down to that guarantee. Like if you go to a specialty coffee shop and you order a flat white and it comes looking like a cappuccino or something, and it's just cost you $4.50. It didn't matter that you had 18 quid a kilo coffee in there. Didn't matter any of it. What matters is the end product, and as long as you get that right, you can command more for that coffee.
Yeah,
basically,
and then you'll sort of be known for that as well. Coffee will
it's how you want to differentiate yourself, I think. If you're seeing in your head your competitor is say for serving specialty or conventional, and you want to match that, then
What else is going to go into? Like, we're drinking some very nice coffee right now.
Very nice.
And it is rather expensive. But what else goes into a great cup of coffee other than just the beans themselves?
Well, the next step is making it. You've gone from the farm to the roaster, and then next it's onto the barista, basically. There's all these fail points, I call them. At any point you can fail, and it doesn't become a specialty anymore. The roaster can fail, I can, scorch it, burn it, and it's not specialty anymore. No longer, is an 85. So there's loads of points where you have to guarantee.
Does the sort of you alluded to there, like specialty SCA scoring, 80 and above is specialty level?
84, I think, is
84?
generally accepted.
Okay.
But I think it needs to be a bit higher, I think. Towards,
Because I wasn't too sure if SCA score was like done at the farm and then it's kind of the coffee is 84 the whole way across, or is it different? Can it degrade?
Farm, it's normally you'll have everyone. Most of the time, there'll be a Q grader there to someone assessing the coffee at the farm level. And then when the importer is selling you that coffee, they have the farm cupping score, their cupping score, and the quality report from that. And then you, as a roaster, will have your own cupping and qualities control score. And if that all is congruent, then the end product would what is stated, basically.
Makes sense. What are some... There's other factors that go into the taste of the coffee other than just the price of the coffee beans, you know. What are some reasons that maybe a business isn't happy with the quality of the drink,
right?
But maybe it's not the coffee itself, the beans, that's the issue. What are some other issues that might get in the way?
It's always staffing. Always staffing. Cafes, like most of them will have a really high turnover of staff.
Yeah.
So like trying to keep up on training is a tough job. Yeah. And consistency is key. Like with more modern machines, it's easier. You know, automatic steam ones.
Yeah.
But you have to pay for that consistency, basically, somehow.
And you've worked in a cafe as well. Is that something that you've seen yourself and had to deal with?
Staff, it's tough. It's tough trying to like retain people whilst, you know, trying to make a profit at the end of the day is hard. Yeah.
How'd you deal with that?
Just try and keep them, you know, keep your baristas happy. There's always, I don't know. I do think there's a big difference between someone who's working for a specialty coffee company as opposed to a barista at Costa. There's definitely a mental difference.
Yeah. Well, it's like something that we see in all of our wholesale customers. Like, no matter if it's sort of 2 people in a cafe or if it's a UK chain of, I don't know,
coffee shops,
garden centre coffee shops, for example, they always have that problem of staff training and turnover. Yeah. Any big sort of ideas as to how to solve that, or is that just tricky. Part of the?
I think that's just
part of the process.
The nature of the beast, isn't it?
Yeah,
it really is. Like, there's things you can do to like keep Costa, for instance. You know, really basic setup. Like they've been running Mazas for decades. Yeah. You know, but just making sure everyone's doing the temperature right. You know, things go wrong. But it's how you make that right with the customer. You know, most people are looking for just consistency. Yeah. At the end of the day. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
What about you? Any ideas?
A few ideas.
It's a tough game.
Not any that I can sort of point to and say, I did this. Yeah. And then, we fixed it for good. Like, obviously there's, like certain setups are sort of more staff retention proof than others. I used to work in a coffee shop a few years ago, and like we were quite lucky in that there were 2 or 3 baristas who are all pretty passionate about we were all watching James Hoffman in our spare time kind of thing.
Geeking out,
and we had pretty decent coffee. We had a shiny new Lamazocco KB90. Nice. We were pretty happy. But then towards the end of my time there, like a few of those staff left whilst I was there, and I was sort of clinging on for a few months, and new people came in, and the level was very different.
Changed, right?
Yeah. And it's sort of hard to, especially when you're busy, it's really hard to sort of not let your fellow barista send out not great looking flat white, because you've got a massive queue out the door and you kind of need to just
need to get them out.
No, it's definitely a tough.
I think it's so hard. Like there is a reward and specialty if you get it right. I definitely think there's a financial reward, but it's that dedication to the end product. It's a long road. Once the company decides, right, we're going to the high market specialty, then there's a whole journey to be made then, because you'll get a great team. You have 1 year, great team, running smoothly. Next year, everything changes. And most of the time it's people. It's like coffee for me is a very people reliant business. Yeah,
definitely. So let's talk a little bit about the sort of the roasting and sourcing side of things as well.
Yeah.
So we've mentioned earlier, you've been in coffee for about a little over a decade.
Yeah.
How did
10,
you-
11 years.
Okay. How did you get into that? What was your kind of
I
experience?
always say you fall into coffee.
Okay.
You never purposely go out
Yeah.
into coffee. It always finds you, I think.
Okay.
Just being in like food startup culture is where I started. First company I worked for was Stewed. They had like a one pot meal. They wanted to do coffee, nice, single origin, but nothing too out there. I do think there's a middle ground with conventional and specialty that you can hit a sweet spot. And then, I quickly just discovered that, I love making coffee. I love talking about coffee. I love the whole supply chain of it. It really interests me. Went to London, just knew I had to improve my coffee game. I was not getting latte art. I was just, the passion was there.
Yeah.
And then I decided to work in London for about 6 months on a little Piaggio. That was tough. That was tough. Because it was like a 3-hour commute with traffic from Reading to London.
Ouch.
And I did it. I graduated, I think, by the end of making, I don't know, close to 400 cups of coffee a day, legit outside a busy train station, I think, getting those, what do they say, 10,000 hours?
Oh, yeah.
An expert.
Yeah. Nice.
But yeah.
Bit of RSI on the way as well. Nice. So how did you get into roasting?
It's, for me, it was always about, I love just vertical integration, basically. You at some point you have hold of everything.
You wanted control.
Yeah, you want to just follow the supply chain back to the source. Basically. I think that's the journey I've been on for 10 years now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So back to sort of quality in the sourcing and the roasting part. Then, how does roasting change? Does roasting change with higher quality, more expensive?
I think there's more caution.
Yeah.
When you are roasting, higher quality, expensive lots, and potentially, have 2 grams of worth of coffee in your roasting drum. The heat's definitely on.
Yeah, you said that in your little bio video. The stakes are high. Is what you said. I remember.
Yeah, you've got like £1,000 worth of green coffee in there. It's you got 15. Most of the time 15 minutes, and a lot can happen within that time. As we figured out, we haven't had to waste that many batches here.
Cool.
Luckily,
That's good.
We've been pretty good.
Yeah.
But when it has gone wrong, it's just owning up to it. I think.
And your first few months here was definitely spent sort of fine tuning the new roaster.
Yeah.
As well. How is that going now?
We're still learning.
Learning.
There's a spirit about the way the coffee roaster are. And it's just trying to learn your roaster.
It's like a living, breathing thing.
It's a living, breathing thing, like a rhythm to it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Like an instrument, like a
Pretty
guitar
much,
or something. Yeah. Awesome.
Just trying to get to know it every day, a little bit more. Yeah.
Does high quality coffee mean something? Coffee is completely subjective. What I love is, light roast, acidic, sweet, floral, all that good stuff. A lot of people would hate that kind of coffee because it doesn't taste like coffee.
We've had to deal with it a lot.
Yeah. How does high quality coffee change depending on what kind of audiences and segments you're serving coffee to?
Yeah, it's like the saying, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? It's like, what are people... There's been plenty of Europeans I've served, nice, acidic coffee, and to them it just doesn't taste good. They want something darker, more aniseed, bitterness, put 2 sugars with it. For them, that's coffee to them. It's probably... I think everyone has their own opinion of what it is.
Yeah. And it's like whatever's familiar as well. a lot of the time. A lot of people won't like light roast coffee because it doesn't taste like coffee to them.
Right.
But a big cup of black coffee with a little bit of milk, 2 sugars. That's beautiful to some people, and fair enough. I love that for them.
That's
it's not my thing, but that's cool. How would you? Again, there's because it's so subjective, it's hard to cater to everyone.
It goes back to the thing of the more questions you ask, the more questions you end up having. I think. Yeah.
But how can we work with we work with a huge range of businesses who've all got different target markets.
Yeah.
How would a business who they know they want high quality coffee, they don't really know what that means, especially for their customers.
So they've got customers, giving them feedback. Yeah, listen to the feedback, I think. Yeah.
And how do they can you please everyone, or do you sort of have to listen to the feedback?
I don't think you can. No, I've tried. I don't think you can please everyone. No, but most people you can. I think. Yeah, balance. It comes back down to what are people's expectations? Where is it? Where's what's your market? Who's coming into your cafe or your garden centre or anything? Yeah, and you've got to tailor. I think with business, you just got to make most people happy, most of your target audience happy to be successful. You're always going to get the odd customer who just had it in for you that day,
They had a bad day. They wanted someone else to have a bad day to make them feel better. Yeah, nice. Okay, well, that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about. So nice. Thank you very much for joining me. Talking about high quality coffee and what that means to businesses, consumers as well. Does paying for higher quality coffee give you better coffee? Can it help revenue?
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
If you're determined to serve specialty, there's definitely a reward. You'll put more. There's more risk, and wherever there's more risk, there should be more reward. Even for us, if we brought a whole drum's worth of specialty in there, the risk for us is more than if we have conventional in there.
Sure.
So it's but there's more reward. There's a higher price per kilo. There's a higher price for the end cup of coffee for the consumer, but you have to.
But it gives you something to shout about,
Absolutely. There's a big marketing, benefits to having specialty coffee.
Yeah. And
having coffee not necessarily has to be expensive, but having your own unique coffee for you. There's farms now with projects for women, for all sorts, basically.
Yeah. And if you're paying, I don't know, what's a low number per kilo? 8, 6? I don't know how low can you get? In terms
of a roasted product?
Yeah, really commercial.
You're probably looking at the lowest I think on the market is about 8 quid a kilo.
Okay. So if you're paying £8 a kilo, you're getting probably something that isn't tasting amazing. But it's also just sort of, it's just coffee, isn't it? It's just the raw product.
Yeah.
Whereas if you bump that up to £12 a kilo, I can't do the maths in my head.
You'll start to get more of a story behind the coffee, something to put in your marketing material.
Something to talk about.
This coffee is from say Peru. There's a story there. I think people are now drawn to. They want to know more where their products come from. We live in a world of such globalization. Just little things, I think, make a big difference. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. We'll call it a day. Marcus, thank you very much for joining me. Appreciate it.